If you're tired of not making progress and you're ready to be the artist you know you're meant to be, you're in the right place. You're listening to the Singer's Path podcast. The Path, or Performing Artists Training Hub, will cover everything, including singing tips that actually work, advice from top industry professionals, and life-changing mindset shifts. Out with the starving artist and in with the thriving artist. I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, professional singer, actor, educator, and entrepreneur. I'm not afraid to speak the truth and stop the gatekeeping of quality information so you can actually become the artist you dream of being. So let's get on the path, shall we? Even though we're all on our own journeys, it always helps to have a guide.
Hello. Welcome to the Singer's Path podcast. It's me, your host, Sarah Bishop. I am so glad to be talking to you today. I am also doing a TikTok live, which we all know always goes well with my ADHD brain, and bouncing back and forth between you, lovely listener, and live listener on the TikTok. If you can hear that squeak, it is my cat, Amryn. We call her Squeaks. I don't know if you'll be able to hear her, but she basically has she's a soprano. Homegirl's a coloratura. She's like she's her. Can you hear her? Could you hear her on the live? It cuts. She cuts. She's delicate. She's a Christine Daae. And she just has the squishiest, sweetest primordial sac anyone could ever ask for. I believe a primordial sac is the squishy part under your belly. Is that right? Am I full of shit? I hope I didn't just say something that's incorrect. I believe it is. She's lovely, but she is distracting, and she will basically try to lick my face off. So we're not letting her in here at the moment. My husband, who is outside, should be giving her attention. But no, Amryn likes to meow at the door because that makes more sense for her cat mind. Anyway, today we're going to talk about a couple things here. Since I'm on the live, I was asking for some suggestions, and I hope to focus in the earlier part of the year a little bit more back on vocal technique and vocal application again, because we just spent the last month really pushing the Inner Circle membership, which thank you so much for staying with me through that. When we have a new product, I'm figuring out how to talk about it, and I could have a whole other business on or a whole other podcast on what it's like to run a business and learn to sell and talk about things and not have it feel weird for me and all of that. So I just really appreciate you guys coming along on the ride with all of that. And we're going to scoop back into some more practical stuff because we offer that too on the show. And today I want to talk about, because on the live, they had a couple suggestions that they wanted to talk about, one of which is why do we use SOVTs and which ones are good to use? And maybe I can give you some today, describing them to you, especially as we're going into January when I'm recording this. So, it's cold and flu season. And SOVTs specifically can be super, super supportive in that area. And it can also be really good for vocal rehabilitation. Okay, so we're going to talk about some things and how it can feel very therapeutic to the voice. Before we get into that, I really need to tell you that only for a week from the time that this podcast is coming out. So I actually not a week from the time the podcast is coming out, but a week from when I'm recording it. I don't know exactly when the podcast is coming out, but until January 17th, 2026, we have group lesson registrations open. This is group lessons for the winter 2026, which will be running from January 20th through April. We did extend group lessons to be 12 weeks instead of 9 weeks. It was originally 9 weeks. And now it's 3 months long. And the reason we did that was because the students, I feel, really like each other, and we all settle into such a wonderful groove and dynamic by, the 6th week especially. And then we only had 3 more weeks left together, and we were really just starting to warm up to each other and really become friends. And so they wanted to extend the experience. So that's why it's a little bit longer. Of course, that makes it a little bit more expensive because we're tacking on 3 more classes, but you're going to get your money's worth. It ends up being significantly cheaper than private lessons for the amount of growth that we've seen. So group lessons are really lit. So lit that they're actually already 70% sold out already, because the the students really like them and they come back. So we only have a few spots left. They're pretty coveted. So if you're listening to this and it's before January 17th, 2026, another reason to keep up with the podcast and listen continuously, because you get to hear when all of these registration periods are open and all of that. But if you're hearing that, make sure that you go and join, because this is at the moment the only way to work with me. I know I've mentioned being able to apply to work with me privately. That window is now closed. I'm not taking anybody till past April. So if you want to work with me at all, this is the only way, and we can get started in January and help get you going. If you're a professional or you're auditioning for anything, right in time for audition season. Speaking of audition season, I know sometimes people end up not signing up for group lessons again for this particular period, which is actually why we have 3 spots open, and that's because they feel overwhelmed by the season or they want to focus on auditions. And I just really need to say this here: if you are auditioning for anything, especially if you're a pro doing audition season, this is the time to be in group. You want to prioritize being in coaching consistently, because what ends up happening is you'll get an audition and then you can come to class and coach it. Like, you don't have to be scrambling last minute to do a private with someone and then spend like $250 getting it coached when you could have already been in class when the big opportunity came, and not only coached it, but then done it and practiced in front of other people so that you feel really ready to go. Because there's also a difference between, even if you did a private coaching and then you're doing it in front of a group of people for the first time, right? Or God forbid, you don't get any coaching at all and it's an important audition and you're walking in and this is the first time you're actually like doing the full material in front of people. Like, that's not a good move. And I know auditioning can be overwhelming, or like maybe you're not sure about auditions in the time of the class. Let me tell you, it's way easier to be flexible or watch the replay or like, missed 1 week because there's one interfering audition than it is to not get that support through the stickiest, craziest part of the year. Okay. So I just want to say, like, help yourself, get into the group lessons. They're amazing. There's an intermediate level that's in the evening. Although if you're a pro and you can't come to the afternoon class, that's okay to come. There is a pro advanced class in the afternoon on Tuesdays. So there's 2 class times, Tuesday afternoons, Wednesday evenings. Just know that there is a prereq for these group lessons. And I know I talked about group lessons before in the last registration, which was the fall. The reason we have a prereq, which is the Pillar series, is because we want you guys to be singing songs. I want to be coaching you on your audition material. I don't want to be focusing the entire time on balancing your voice or teaching you shit that we should all be on the same page about, right? I'm not about repeating myself and wasting everybody else's time. Right? Again, this is a group dynamic. We need to be on the same page. That's the other reason why there's 2 levels, so that we have the same language and everybody can accelerate together. Okay. So I would like to teach at the level of the most advanced person in that class, or just like at least where most people are. And for that to happen, we need to have the same language. So that's why pillars exist. I'm not trying to like gatekeep you or like gouge you in any way. Okay. I'm trying to make sure that you are resourced so that it works. And this is hands down the way that we saw the biggest improvement around people in group lessons. Like, actually, autumn of 2025, which was the last time we did group lessons, was fall group lessons in 2025. The growth that we saw, oh my God. And that's primarily due to people repping the Pillar series at home and then coming to class and really fully applying it by getting that private touch point in the group lesson. Just so you know, these are not basic group lessons. Like, it's not like I'm just playing basic fucking scales and everybody's like on mute. Like, everybody sings individually. Okay. It's like you basically have semi-private coaching. Like, you do get coached privately. It's just, it's a small group. You have other people listening to you and watching you. And if you're like, oh, that feels like a lot, like I'm scared, it's okay. Like, what ends up happening is it might be a little scary at first, but we start to like get to know each other, and the vibe is always amazing. And it also helps with that performance anxiety, that stage fright. You're starting to temper your system's ability to be able to sing in front of other people. Better to do that in a safe environment in group lessons than in an audition. Okay. Many reasons why group is amazing. I love it. It's my favorite thing to teach. The growth we've seen is amazing. If you're worried that you're not going to get the same results as you would in a private lesson, I get you. I hear you, because even before I started doing this, I was like, oh, what if I can't get people the same results, right? You would think logically one-on-one, like, is going to be the thing that guarantees the best results. And that's just not true. And I've seen that now. And I think it took me a little while to get comfortable and confident to be able to hold the space for this container. But like, I can say with full confidence, 100%, like, people grow the same rate, if not faster, because you're still getting private, like, you're still singing by yourself, like, but then you're getting validated by another group that also understands. And so sometimes what can happen in a private lesson is you can not that people don't trust me or believe me, but like, it can feel like, what, is she serious? Like, do I believe her? I don't know. Like, but when you have witnesses of 9 other people who are like, no, like, that sounded incredible, you have to understand, but you're not quite sure because it might be a new sensation or a new sound and you don't know if it sounds bad or not. When you're validated by an entire group of people, it's like, holy shit, like, you feel the positivity and like the confidence like compounds based on just how powerful the energy is from all those people holding that space for you. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that, but I just wanted to let you know that registration is only open. I don't even know how many days from when this is being broadcasted. So look in the show notes, scroll up to look at the link in the show notes. If it's open, that registration will be there and you should be able to sign up. Again, there is a prereq. If you don't have the prereq, you can get them both together. And if it seems like a large sum because you're getting a lot, it's a lot of value in there. There's payment plans. So I think you can even get started for, I think if it's just the class, possibly like $50 a month. I don't know. You can look and see, but there's options for everybody. I'm not trying to make this inaccessible. It's just super valuable. So invest in yourself, get in group lessons, guarantee that your audition season is going to go superbly well. And I hope to see you in there. Okay, so let's talk about what was recommended here. The SOVT journey. What is that? Now, it's interesting because I saw on TikTok and I couldn't believe this. Actually, I could not fucking believe this. I don't know if it was Instagram or TikTok, but I think it was TikTok. I saw this guy and I think he's a classical singer. He's not a fucking vocal coach or a voice teacher. There's clearly no training in the pedagogical background because homeboy made this fucking video saying that if a voice teacher pulls out a straw in your voice lesson, to take the straw, stab them in the face, and demand your money back. And I made another TikTok talking about this because I was like, holy fuck, this is so deeply and scientifically incorrect to discourage singers from using straws as an SOVT or any kind of rehabilitative skill, like a tool. It's so wildly factually incorrect as to what, like, even medical professionals or SLP, speech language pathologists, how they operate in rehabilitating voices. I was like beside myself. And listen, and I know people feel this way about scales too. I have even some teacher friends who don't want to warm up their own voice with scales. But let's get something clear. The straw, just like scales, are tools, right? They're similar to like especially the scales, okay? If you're about to go play a sport, like say you're on the football field, okay? Part of your training for football, I would imagine, I don't really know, but part of your training from football, I would assume, would be to do like scrimmage matches, right? That's like just singing a song, okay? It's a match that you're actually playing the game, right? But in order to get better at the game or warm up for said game, you're not just going to like walk the fuck onto the field without like stretching, right? What if some bitch like fucking like hits you in the face with their leg and then you snap your hamstring, right? Like, so vocal alignment, doing warm-ups, doing stuff like that is important. And a scale is a form of doing like a proper stretch, especially, and I say this mostly because a lot of you guys want to sing really hard fucking things. So it's not like you're just singing like some easy ass song. If it's an easy song, you know if you can get away with it without like aligning yourself. But most of the time when y'all are trying to sing fucking Demi Lovato and Renee Rapp, yeah, that's not just like doing a walk in the park, Old MacDonald had a farm. You're trying to do very intense, vocally acrobatic, crazy shit, okay? And if it's not your like go-to style, what your voice wants to do, like, let's be frank, like I feel like most voices can kind of just pop into certain styles. Like I could probably get away with singing Till There Was You without warming up that much or vocally balancing for sure. If I want to get excellent tone quality and resonance and have that sound like the fucking finest wine you've ever had, then I'm going to have to, you know, get my instrument cooperating with me. Okay. The way to do that, the most efficient way is by doing certain tools. Sometimes I look at like vocal tools as almost like vocally chiropractic adjustments. Okay, for your airflow, for your chord thickness, for how your vocal folds are coming together. And if you're not giving yourself, it's like if any of you are professionals who are in a Broadway show or you're professional dancers, okay? The professional dancers, if they have a ballet later that night, they're in ballet bar 8 a.m. every day. Those dancers aren't just like, I fucking hate bar. If they don't like bar, they do some other variation of some kind of PT, physical therapy, stretch, and conditioning to get ready for the show. If they're Broadway dancers, you fucking better believe those bitches have a full fucking, unless they're 20 years old and they just didn't graduate from college yet and they're fucking lubed and limber as hell. These dancers know how to take care of their instrument. They know that be able to get through the fucking Jellicle Ball, they're going to have to like kind of work out and align their bodies in a way that's going to fully get them actually warmed up to be able to do the function of doing the Jellicle Ball, okay, or the ballet. It's like singers don't understand that's the case, especially if you're training to sing something really hard, right? So whether the song itself is very technically gymnastics, like it's just not going to fucking come out. And then you get upset with yourself that, I don't sound as good as I did in my voice lesson. Well, in your voice lesson, your teacher balanced you. That's why it sounded good, okay? And if you don't know how to get vocal balance, if you don't know what that is, again, reminder, that's why Pillars is a prerequisite for group lessons, because Pillars is what teaches you the first steps to be able to do that. And it's not just a course you watch through once, guys, okay? It's a fucking training program, and you bounce back and forth. And in the future, I hope to add to it even more, right? It's something that something you work through over time and you use over and over and over again. If I'm going to take money for art from artists, you better fucking believe it's going to be good and that they can use it forever. Okay. So that's what Pillars is. That's why it's a prerequisite, because it teaches you to balance. I'm teaching you how to functionally get ready so that you can sing the Jellicle Ball without ripping your hamstring. Okay. So anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent there about properly warming up. But this is why, and we're going to have a whole other episode about like fucking red flags of voice teachers, because I have another student on this live that wants to talk about like red flags of voice teachers. I also had someone comment on the live, you cool down as well as after the show. Yeah, that's another thing. So just like how dancers and any kind of athletes, so vocal athletes, you warm up and align before the show, you need to cool down after the show. That's true. Now, if you have people like visiting at the stage door and you're like, sometimes that's easier said than done. But cooling down somewhat, having some kind of just a few exercises. I don't care if you don't fucking like it. Okay. Are you an athlete or not? Right. And if you're not, if you're just like, I just want to sing in my community theater production of The Little Mermaid, then that's fine. Okay. You do what you need to do. I'm not talking to you here. Okay, then if it doesn't work for you, then don't use it. But I'm talking to people that are athletes. Yes, you need to warm up. Yes, you need to use scales. Yes, you need to cool down. And now we're going to talk about the vocal rehab aspect of it, how we started this episode with SOVTs and why they're so important. We have someone on the live saying, how can I mix better? Well, mixing, I was just talking about here. Mixing is about actually balance, vocal balance. Okay, it's not really about just finding or putting into your mix. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to find my mix. That, to me, makes mixing sound like it's some unicorn that, like, it's this unattainable thing No, your voice is on a spectrum, okay? The sounds that you can make are on a spectrum. What mixing does for you is helps you understand where you can play your instrument on said spectrum. So it teaches you how to, basically the most basic aspect of mix, when I say vocal balance, is just evenly blending your sound from bottom to top, okay? The only way to do that for the first time and understand how to play, in quotations, all your notes without cracking, because it's balance, you need to know how it's off balance. That's the thing most singers are missing, okay? And that's another thing that the Pillar series does, and that's why it's a prerequisite for group lessons, because you need to understand the tools and your own nuance to have the idea, oh, I'm off, my voice is doing these things. That's why I can't blend. That's hands down why people can't mix, quotations, because they don't know why they're not mixing, right? And once they find out why they're not mixing, and then you learn what to do for yourself to give yourself the antidote, right? Balance and strengthen yourself in a way that addresses the reasons why it's not happening, then it happens. And then it becomes, like I said, about that spectrum. Because once you mix, it's not like, I've gotten some comments about oh, BFA belt and everybody sounds the same. Yeah, I understand. Yes, I made a comment about how training is the reason, or getting your BFA is the reason. I think it's actually not that. I think it's a lack of vocal versatility and an understanding of mix, in the sense that it's actually mixing in itself is a way of deepening your understanding of your instrument. It's not a reason why everybody sounds the same. If everybody sounds the same, then they're actually not opening themselves up to using more of the tools that are available to them. I think everybody sounds the same mostly because people keep casting the fucking same people. They keep casting the same fucking voices. There's many voices that can mix and mix belt in incredible ways that are going to sound different because they have a different quality of instrument. I am also sick and tired of people casting the same fucking type of voice. I think that's fucked up. I don't want to hear the same Leah Michelle again. Sorry. We have her. I've heard it. She's great. There's a lot of people that are great, but I want to hear something fucking interesting. I want to hear a genuine golden age era. Sorry, and I know I'm biased because I'm a golden age girl, but I want warmth, bitch. I'm so tired of these high larynx lack of resistance bullshit, okay? I'm so tired of the skrelty shit, but there's not even depth and fullness to it because they keep casting the thinnest, brightest voices that I also think gives musical theater a bad name as not being something that can be musical and rich, and that the sound that they keep wanting is this nasty, nasally bullshit. Hey, let me tell you something. Not all of us sound like that. They're just not casting us. There's so many diverse voices in this industry. And I don't mean for this to sound like I'm pinning this on casting, because casting is an actor's best friend. I think it's more the producers, maybe some music. I don't really know. I think it's the scores. I think people are trying to recreate to get money. They see something that works, or cast music directors, they think that type of voice is gonna sell, or maybe because it won't burn out because they're familiar with it and they don't trust a fuller voice or a different voice. They're also not really writing music for those other kinds of voices. Anyway, let me get a fucking full-bodied, textured alto in a lead, please. Let me get a fucking baritone with a gorgeous sound who's not 70 years old. Please, oh my God, can I get a fucking mezzo with some depth and body, please? Anyway. Again, yet another tangent, 24 minutes in. And this is, if you listen, this is why I hope you listen. So back to the actual topic, SOVTs. So I was kind of talking about how this guy was incredibly wrong saying that SOVTs, but was more specifically straw work, which could be a type of SOVT, why that's bad or boring. And then I got on this whole tangent about how I don't care if it's fucking boring. That's factually incorrect. And if you want to fucking help yourself, you better fucking do it. You better fucking do it. Okay. And so don't listen to some of the shit you hear online. It's fucking wrong, okay? Whoever made that doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And if you listen to anybody that has a fucking degree or any kind of training whatsoever, they will say that SOVTs and straw work, which is a type of SOVT, are super important. And not just because, now here's the differentiation. SOVTs' main purpose is vocal rehabilitation. Now, I keep saying SOVTs, and if you don't know what that means, you're probably like, what the fuck is an SOVT? SOVT stands for semi-occluded vocal tract exercise, okay? It's something that will narrow the vocal tract and make the most efficient use of the instrument in a gentle way. That's why it's used for vocal rehabilitation. If you have a vocal injury and you go to a top vocal medical person or a speech language pathologist, SLP, they're going to use mainly SOVTs to rehabilitate the voice. It is literally healing for the voice to do these SOVTs, okay? Using a straw and different variations of using straws are a variation of an SOVT because they're narrowing, they're using a semi-occluded vocal tract, right? They're helping the vocal folds come together in a gentle way with a gentle amount of the right air pressure balance. If you're a singer and you've ever done an SOVT, which I'm going to get into what they are and how the fuck to use them, they feel really good. That's because they're like little massages for you, for your voice, right? Last time I checked, my vocal folds are inside my neck. Hard to massage, okay? So that's why we use these exercises. And if you don't fucking like doing exercises, then I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Don't help your voice. Don't fucking use them. I don't know. Sorry, I get really salty. I think when I'm online all the time and I'm trying to help people, if my focus gets on just like the wrong fucking type of person, I get super bitchy. I'm like, then don't fucking use it, bitch. I don't know. I wish, part of me, if I was a pettier person, which I really am internally, but I just control myself. If I was more outwardly petty, I would have stitched that motherfucker and been like, yo, shut the fuck up. That's fucking wrong. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Mostly because I'm so frustrated that so many people are so fucking confused. That's why I do this. I'm so tired of singers being like, bitch, I only got so much money. I have so much, this is my job. I'm trying to get a fucking job. It's so hard to go on YouTube and learn, but yet it seems like all the information is there, but I don't know what's right and what's wrong. Yeah, I'm fucking tired of that too. That's why we're here. Okay. So we know what a semi-occluded vocal tract exercise. It's basically an exercise that helps your voice work as efficiently as possible in a very therapeutic way. And how that works is it's a balance of the air pressure. It's narrowing usually the lips or the space in which the sound is coming out, which again is going to work with that pressure balance and that airflow. And it's going to steadily and very healthily get the vocal folds to come together in a nice, beautiful, healthy way. Most of the time, SOVTs are used for vocal rehabilitation. Now, before you come for me, I did see on this post about how they hated straw work that some people were like, yeah, it's used for vocal rehabilitation, but not really vocal training. Yeah, it can be. It can be. Especially in vocal training when we're talking about, again, pressure balance and vocal fold closure. Yeah, overall, straw work is probably most of the time a lot of the SOVTs are going to be used for rehabilitation. But if you're singing difficult things, yeah, you're going to need vocal rehabilitation. So let's talk about types of SOVTs. So I mentioned straws. There's different ways you can use straws, right? If we're going to do it in a vocal rehabilitation, I would say vocal rehabilitation, you're going to want to use something even more gentle. So if we're in a vocal rehab setting, you're going to want to use a larger girth straw. So like a boba straw. And you'll also want to use water. So singing and humming into water and blowing bubbles can have a really deeply therapeutic effect. It can feel almost like you're getting a massage on your vocal folds. That would be an example of doing something in a more therapeutic lens, a more rehabilitative lens using said straw. Now, you can also use straws to train in other things that can go to a vocal training. That's why I was like, that's not all the way right, because I've used straw work specifically and some of the other SOVTs, not just to warm up the instrument gently and rehabilitate, but to also get it fucking working in a gentle way or in a more efficient way. Here, I have a question here. You can go from an SOVT and open into a vowel, and then you can set, yes, exactly, Justin. That's exactly right. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can also use SOVTs to train. You can use straws to train. You just have to know how to do that, how to use them to train. If they're not like, if you don't know what you're doing, then of course that's going to be like, why the fuck am I singing to a straw? Okay. So you can use these tools in different ways for different functions. So I have, there's a question. How do I transition from my chest voice to my mix back to my chest voice seamlessly? Hey, love. So I have many resources on this. I just said this earlier in the episode, but this has to come down to the reason you have to learn to mix back down. So there's some indiscrepancy there's some ingredient that's out, okay, that's causing you not to do that. I don't know what it is because I can't hear you. But most of the time, it's either because you're pulling or you're flipping, right? A lot of that can do with cord closure, like your vocal folds are coming apart or you're getting too thin all of a sudden. So that would be how you would need to basically identify what is the functionality that's causing that to happen, right? It's causing you not being able to mix back, okay? So you would need to find what's off balance. And I talked about this earlier. I teach you how to do this, and you actually can train yourself how to do this in the Pillar series. So just so you know, that's going to be a process, but the first step is identifying why your voice is off balance, right? Your ability to mix back and to mix back to chest voice has to do with balance. You're not balanced, so you need to find out where you're off balance. And if you don't know how to do that, go watch the Discover class. That's the thing that teaches you that off balance piece. And if you need to train it back in, you got to go watch Pillars. Okay? Those are like, and because it's not just like, I don't just answer the question, right? That's a training issue. That's a training issue. You have to understand what's off and then how to get back on. Yeah. Justin said that you can learn that through the Pillar series. Thank you, Justin. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Okay. Let's talk about ways. We talked about how straws can be therapeutic, right? And how you would use them in a therapeutic way. So you get probably a bigger straw. In a therapeutic lens, most of the time, our voice isn't really functioning because there's a lot of inflammation or there's some kind of hemorrhage or there's nodules, plural, not one node. I don't have a node. You have nodes, right? They're two kind of growths on the vocal folds. It's not one. Okay, so just so you know, it's not, I have a node. I have nodes. Okay. And if you ever do have a vocal injury, like, it's not the end of the world. We're not all going to turn into Julie Andrews. Okay. You just need to do some of this vocal rehabilitation or go to a doctor, go to like a trained laryngologist, not just an ENT, a laryngologist, get a proper scope and have a plan and get an SLP. Most of these things can be rehabilitated, especially if you find it early. So if you're having some kind of vocal discrepancies, vocal differences, maybe you're sick and then it hasn't quite come back and you're a little bit worried about it, then go get scoped. That's literally the only way, is to get a medical team on board. But in the meantime, most of the time what they're going to do with you, or you're going to a voice lesson and you're trying to get rehabilitated in your voice lesson, most of the issues, especially when we start pulling out straws and other SOVTs, is because your voice is inflamed. So the tissue of the voice is puffy. Okay, so there's a few different things you can do for this. One resource that I'll just shout out because I think it's brilliant. Andrew Byrne is a really brilliant like brain-body connection voice teacher. And so he created this course. It is so damn cheap for how valuable it is, but it's called De-Swell Your Cords. And it uses the lymphatic draining system to get vocal swelling to go down. Oh, we got a comment. I damaged my voice from overuse and I'm singing at a comp this week and how can I take care of it? Okay. Well, first of all, I hope you're getting support. Like if you really do literally feel like you damaged your voice, like make sure, again, like I said, go to an otolaryngologist, get an actual scope, get that disc, right? Take a video of your scope so that you have the progress of your vocal health and you have documentation of that, and then have a plan. Like that's the first step. But like literally all that I'm talking about here today, Mare, I think that's what your name is on this. Sorry, I can't really see it. We're talking about this. So these would be the steps. So again, big straws. So these are all examples of SOVTs, semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. Take a big like boba straw and you can either sing through just the boba straw, but something especially for your rehabbing will feel a little better is putting the straw in the water. Okay. Now, how far you put it in the water is going to make a difference for the functionality. When it's rehab, you're going to have to test how far can you put the straw in the water and still make sound. Because sometimes if it's a really big straw and you put it really far down in the water, that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of back pressure, right? And that can be really therapeutic. But if you're putting the straw in the water and you're like, okay, like you got to be able to make sound. So if you pull the straw out of the water a little bit and you get like a nice, you're starting to be able to pitch or phonate, that's a good amount, right? So play with what feels comfortable with how you're able to actually voice. And that will be a solution if you still have a comp coming up or you have something to do, slow, steady SOVT work will be good. So even if you start, you can take notes. Anyone, if you need to vocally rehab, get your fucking notebook out and write this down right now, okay? So straw and water, blowing bubbles like you're a little kid blowing milkshakes. And start with smaller intervals. Don't just go into a large stretch. That's like getting out of bed and jumping into a split, okay? Just hum. Right? Do the bubbles. Like I don't have bubbles with me. I should have. But like just do like a third, really slidey, really slow, and then slowly kind of start to stretch, right? Really, it's about easing into the parts of our voice that feel stiff or like they're not functioning the same way. You don't want to just try to blast air through them and get it to work. It's not going to work that way. You have to be gentle. So anyway, straw and water, big deal. How far you put it in the water, big deal. The size of the straw, big deal. Because if you get and this is where, are we vocally training? Are we working out? Or are we rehabilitating? Okay. All the amazing things straws and SOVTs can do. If you're working out, right, and you're using a straw, say, to work on really controlling airflow and really getting vocal fold depth, so meaning getting the vocal folds to come together with as much depth as possible, using a tiny straw, like a coffee straw, will be super extreme. But like Stephanie J. Block uses that, right? I think one of the most famous, I think it's Joan Lader, one of the most famous vocal coaches in New York City. I could be misspeaking, but I'm pretty sure. She works with a bunch of stars on Broadway and does all this stuff. She works with a couple friends of mine that are in starring roles now. They do a lot of coffee straw work. And that's because it's like an intense vocal training tool, but it's still an SOVT. It's using a really tiny opening and a really athletic amount of air for a really athletic amount of vocal cord closure. Now, not every single person's going to need to do that, but if you're playing alphabet, yeah, probably, right? And not every voice is going to feel good doing that too. I think that's the other thing. So when it comes to sizes of straws specifically, and you're doing resistance training, so meaning that you're trying to get more depth of the vocal fold to come together and close all the way, have more closure so that your sound is clearer. You don't sound like this. That's lack of closure. Full closure. Right? So if you're trying to you're training that in, you're a perpetually breathy singer, or you don't know why you feel like you're fucking screaming, saying Defying Gravity, and you're just blowing so much air and you're just shouting and fucking doing too much. That kind of using a smaller straw and even playing it instead of trying to blow into it like a trumpet, even treating it more like a kazoo, kind of humming into the straw with the lips around the straw all the way, again, is showing your body a different way to use airflow and get more closure with less air, right? So anyway, fuck the person that said that straws don't work, because that's absolutely fucking bullshit. The top vocal teachers that charge fucking $400 an hour are teaching with straws. They're teaching fucking Lady Gaga to sing with fucking straws, okay? Anyway, let's talk about other SOVTs before we wrap up this section of this episode, okay? So in feeling the vibration of the mouth, not just the throat. Yes. So, I have some other students on here, other voice teachers that are in my group lessons that I teach. Again, reminder for group lessons for the people on the live call. If you're listening to this right now and you're like, damn, I like the way Sarah talks about stuff. And fuck, I do want results. Make sure you get your ass in group lessons. Registration is only until January 17th. If you don't get in there, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Okay. If you're on the live, make sure you get into group lessons. because that's how you work with me, and I would love to work with you. Oh, I have someone. How often do you go live? This is great. I try to go live every week, I guess. Not really. I try to do it sometimes when I'm recording podcasts. I'm also going to be starting to record podcasts with a video because we gotta amp up the YouTube game. I feel like this is a lot of good info and we got to get it out more. So I'm going to hopefully be filming more and then having both audio and film. And so the more I do that, I hope to go live. I hope to go live while I'm podcasting. That's the answer. Okay. Let's answer the rest of the question. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mare. If you want to work with me, group lessons. So other SOVTs, we don't have to just have a straw. Most of the time we don't have a fucking straw. Unless you're weird like me and you carry all kinds of straws. I had my singing straws in my back pocket for forever. And I'm not going to tell you, you don't have to, listen, I have a code if you want a discount. I think it's Sarah Bishop 10 for singing straws. If you don't want to spend a lot of money on straws, then just collect different sizes of straws, bro. Like, go steal some at the coffee shop and then like go steal some at the boba tea and like go to a gas station and take some. Okay? Then you have a whole collection of straws. Okay, it doesn't have to be the fancy one. If you use them all the fucking time, then get the fancy one. I have the fancy ones. I would like carry that shit around like it was my fucking inhaler. It was my singing inhaler. Okay. And another thing that I'll have to talk about too was actually because I had to use them more as a rehabilitative tool because I was so vocally fatigued from teaching all the time. It's like I did need them. And same with my nebulizer. Like I used those to actually just get vocal function because I was so tired and so fatigued from teaching so much and talking so much. As you can tell, I'm a yapper. Anyway. Other types of SOVTs, okay? On the live, you're going to be able to see me a little bit better. I'm going to have to just describe this to the podcast. Maybe I'll have to do another version of this on YouTube so like you can actually fucking see it. So say you don't have a straw. One go-to that's a little bit less extreme as a straw, but like pretty similar in effects is, I call it the blowfish. Le blowfish, okay? So you're going to puff out your cheeks like a fucking moron and you're going to have the tiniest fucking hole in your face. Okay, you're gonna press all that air into those big old chipmunk cheeks of yours, and then you're gonna sing, bitch. That's the blowfish. Sorry, my cats are going crazy in the hallway. Okay, so you're gonna take your big ass cheeks. We're gonna do it together on the live, and you're gonna blow a bunch of air into them, and then you're gonna have a little tight little hole in your mouth. Sorry, this is not inappropriate. So. Get your tight little face hole and get your big ass cheeks and press a bunch of air and then try to make sound. That's an example of an SOVT you can do right the fuck now. Okay? That is, you'll feel how kind of weird it is and kind of how balloon-like it is. I think you can start to kind of sound like Dory, who's the whale. Dory talking to the whales. But yeah, like say you don't have a straw and you're like feeling vocally fatigued and you got something going on and you don't know how to rehabilitate yourself. Okay. Do this, start with this as part of your warm up. It will also help with really good cord closure and kind of relaxing other muscles, which is really great. They all have like, they're all magical. They're all like fucking superfoods. Okay. SOVTs are the way to fucking go. SOVTs, superfoods of the voice. Okay. So let's do a couple together. Let's do some Dory together. I'm going to tell you about some more too. So let's do Dory all together on the live. You bitches better be doing it. I don't care if you're lying fucking down. I don't give a fuck if you're on the toilet. I don't give a fuck if you're in bed. Let's SOVT to get together, bitch. Okay. So let's just do some like third hums. So we'll be like, be mindful of what your tongue's doing. Try to let it chill. Most of the time it like freaks out. It doesn't know what it's doing. So mine like clovers and like freaks out. So just be mindful. One more. Look at you. You SOVT'd. You dirty little bitch. Look at you. Fuck yeah. Okay. This is not appropriate for children. Anyway, let's do another one, shall we? My voice already feels better doing that. Fuck. It feels so good. Now, another thing that I would like to do, which is not an SOVT, but just like we love, and I'm going to do it right now because I was talking a lot. You can do a tongue stretch. Again, not an SOVT. This is a stretch, but similar. You can partner them with SOVTs because they're going to feel really fucking good. So if you take the back sides of your tongue, not like just a tippy tip, like the back, and you kind of pull it forward and massage the back sides of it and kind of move it back and forth. If you're a fucking yappy McYap like me, and you talk weird like me, it's going to hurt like a bitch, but it'll feel really good. So grab it from the sides and pull it out. I can feel it immediately. It's insane. I can feel it immediately, like in my jaw, like all the way down. It's fucking wild. So everybody, good luck. I don't know if you have a paper towel, just don't rip your taste buds off, okay? But grab it with something. Like if you're trying to do it with your fingers, you're just like trying to grab a slug. You know what I mean? So try to grab it with something. So again, get like a paper towel or something. Pause this and go get one. Grab it from the back and try to pull it out and like hum. Ow. Fuck. That hurts. Okay. But yeah, I would probably do that for longer, but thank God I did that. Oh my God, it releases everything. Oh, I just fucking love singing. Oh, I love the voice. All right, let's do another one. Other SOVTs. Let's finish up with some more standard ones. JK, I want to do a more extreme one and then we'll go standard. If you're having a day where you have literally 0 fucking seconds to warm up, okay? This would not be good if you're swollen, if you're like, I'm sick and I can barely sing. Like you can try, but like good luck because it's going to be kind of extreme. And this is called the fist. So you're going to take your fist and you're going to not fucking have any space. Like you're just like, when you're like a teenager, maybe this is just me because I'm weird as fuck. When you're like making out with your hand as a teenager, that was revealing. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, when you're like hadn't been kissed before and you're like trying to like, oh yeah. And you're like making out with yourself. Okay. Sorry. Was that a weird thing to say? But you're going to like kiss your hand like that. Like you're like, oh yeah. Okay. And you're going to sing into your fist, but like with no holes. So it creates all of this back pressure. Right? And that's going to, again, create this crazy dynamic of kind of locking the air underneath and over top of the vocal folds so that they're just like effortlessly like coming together. Okay. It's going to feel like a lot of pressure, but it's going to be really good for you, especially if you're trying to sing something more extreme. This would be more similar to singing like in a coffee straw, something with really extreme vocal fold closure. Okay. So maybe do this on like a slide. Or doing it on any scale, really. That's going to get you pretty much immediate chord closure in the most extreme way. Okay. So some other basic ones are like lip buzzes. Like you're like motorboating in the pool, making like water. You could do a tongue. You could do a raspberry or a tongue trill like arriba. Any of those things are going to be other good SOVTs. Those are the more basic types. Those are probably the ones you've seen like a choir director pull out versus like the vocal athlete ones. Yeah. Oh, I got a good comment while we're on this topic. Any tips for perfecting lip buzzes? I'm so bad at them. Oh yeah. So this is the one thing about these more basic, like lip buzz, tongue trill, raspberry. Like some people just can't fucking do them because like you don't relax your lips or just fucking do that very often. Right. So for lip buzzes, I would help like blah, 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 like trying to just focus on everything being like super loose and weird. Blah, 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 like doing something like that. Blah, 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 using a blah, blah, blah to relax the face muscles enough and then start to blow air through that for the lips specifically. The other one that tends to be hard, the raspberry, if you have a lot of like back of tongue tension, it's going to like not be able to start. So if you really try to exhale a little bit more air to try to really loosen the tongue and like actually get it to vibrate. Right? Now the hardest I think of most people is like they just can't roll their R's for the right? So if that's the case, that position of that tongue is actually where a D would be. D as in dog. Okay. So the way to get you to roll your R's, and I learned this by learning to sing classical music, is instead of like freaking out that you have to have a really solid R roll, like start by like thinking of flipping your R. So if you're gonna like amore, right? So instead of amore, right? Very American, try to put a D where the R is. Amore, amore, amore. Day. Right? You can start to practice getting the tongue to release into that trill by applying air stream and allowing the tongue to relax. But most of the time people can't do it because they don't know where the tongue goes. They're like they're trying to gargle their fucking tongue. Okay. Speaking of gargles, another Brilliant fucking SOVT. So if you just take a little sippy sip and gargle, that'd be another thing. It just relaxes all the throat muscles, y'all. I don't even know exactly how that fucking works, but I think it relaxes the swallowing muscles. So another good SOVT. We got on the live. Oh, that was so helpful. Is approaching it a different way, pressing. Yeah, exactly. With pressure, that's what ends up happening when people hate SOVTs, is because they're just like not approaching them the right way. But when you start to do them, they can be really gentle ways of warming up. They can address certain issues. If you don't have a straw and you need to work on getting a clear sound, some other ones that are really good are like V's, v, v, NG, M, anything like that is also considered an SOVT. You can use like a creak. Actually, it's interesting because like there's an old wives' tale somewhere the fuck out there that like glottal stops are fucking bad for you, but in fact, they're necessary, especially in speech. So actually, a lot of SLPs will use like creaky ooh to help you get cord closure if you speak like this. Right? So to go back to the question, why can't I mix? How do I mix better? All of this ties together. It all like all these tools that I'm describing, all are antidotes for something or rehab for something. Okay. So anyway, the first step for people listening is to understand why your voice, what about the sound? What ingredients of the sound aren't fucking working? Functionally, what is it? Pinpoint it. But no one fucking teaches you that. That's why I fucking teach you that, because I'm tired of people not knowing. That's bullshit. Okay, you should know what's going on. So the way to learn that is I teach Discover. So Discover is like a class that lectures it. But if you really want to know, get fucking pillars. Get your ass in group lessons. I'll fucking teach you. Okay, that's the answer. You have to be mentored and learn the tools that are available to you. You have to learn to be self-aware of what your instrument is doing and then what to do about it. That's how you mix. That's how you sing professionally. That's how you do this longer instead of just fucking winging it all the time. Okay? Let's not do that. Let's stop that. We know that hasn't really been working. Okay? You're so real. Oh my God, thank you. I love you too. Bad for you. I know. So rude. It's just fucking wrong. So many people are just fucking wrong. How do you know if you're doing an NG correctly? Good question. Really all the NG is using the tongue to go up against the soft palate, and it's blocking air, like sound from coming out, and it's coming out the nose. Right? So it's gonna sound weird. I don't know. I can't hear you. So I don't know what you're doing. Again, in order to give corrections ethically, I have to know what you sound like and what you're doing, because then I can know what's off and then prescribe you something that's right. So I'm gonna, again, I had another student, Justin, that was like, do a red flags of voice teachers. I'm not gonna self-proclaim like every tool is for everybody. They're not, right? Every tool is for someone doing something specific and different. NG, how to know if you're doing it right? If it feels okay. If it doesn't feel like shit, right? But I won't know for sure unless I hear you, because we have to know what your individual voice is doing that's off to get it on. Does that make sense? And if you need help with that, again, get in group lessons. Okay, I'm going to stay on the live, but we're going to end this episode because we covered some juicy shit today. We were a juicy fucking peach today. SOVT out the ass, okay? I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like I'm so tired. Guys, we have a trip planned next week. I have been trying to cram in so many things, and I know my talk has been on the dirtier side today, and like I've been cursing up a storm. So if that bothers you, I'm sorry. Also, thank you for staying with us, and I hope you learned thinking is a lot. Girl, it is. I hope you learned something. We packed this full of juicy nuggets. I'll probably have to redo this episode when we kind of switch to YouTube video, but I really hope you can listen back to this. Again, if you're on the live and you want to listen back to this episode and like get this info again, it'll be on the Singer's Path podcast. Get your ass over there and subscribe. And if you're listening to the Singer's Path podcast right now, I appreciate you. Make sure that if you love the show, make sure you leave a 5-star written review. Singer's Path. Yes, Singer's Path podcast. And then if you want to work with me, Singer's Path group lessons. Okay. All those links, if you're on the live, are in the bio on TikTok. All that's in my link tree. If you're listening to the podcast, scroll up. All these links are in the show notes to join group lessons, Singer's Path podcast. If you like this show, leave us a written 5-star Apple review, or just leave us a 5-star review. But if you leave us a written review and you screenshot that shit, guess what? Guess the fuck what? You get entered to win a free lesson. We're doing drawings and from this pool of people who have left us testimonials, reviews, and reviews of the products too. Like, say you have Discover Pillars and you send us a written review, we enter your name for a pool for a free lesson. So, and then you get left in the pool. But guess what? As the pool's smaller, you have a higher chance of winning a fucking lesson. So if you're of the earlier and you're finding this early on, get your fucking name in there. Shoot your shot, babe. Especially if you like the show, why the fuck not? And email it to us at singerspath@gmail.com. And yeah, we'll enter you to win a free lesson with me, which I don't even release publicly. So yeah. Yeah, it's great. That's how much I appreciate you for being here. And with that, that's the end of our episode today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for listening to my delusional yapping. Hope you learned something. Love you. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. This helps me get this information out to more artists all over the world. Let's work together to spread the joys of music. Until next time, I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, signing off from the Singer's Path podcast. Thanks for listening.